conflict of our Torah and this meeting between Yaakov and Esau. Very traumatic meeting for Yaakov because he's meeting his older brother. He knows Esau. He knows what type of man Esau is. And one of the things he does, he has a daughter. And he knows that if Esau sees her, he's going to do whatever because Esau cannot control himself in certain matters. So he puts his daughter Dina in a box to hide her from Esau. That Esau shouldn't see her. And then after he leaves, she's in Shechem, and she gets violated by the local lord. So there's, and we have the whole story, what happens with Levi and Shimon and Shechem. The midrash this is all based on the midrash, by the way, that he put her in a box. And the midrash says that was a mistake by Yaakov, because if he had allowed Esau to meet Dina, and he would have taken Dina, he would have forced her to marry her, and then she would have straightened out Esau. In other words, Esau needed direction. Dina could have given him that direction. Because he didn't allow her to meet him, etc. Then she was, like, oh, you didn't want to give her to your brother? Huh. God said, well, okay, I'm going to give her out to somebody else who's not your brother. Remember that Esau, with all his faults, is still part of what would you call the family. Okay, he's not a stranger to the ideas. He knows what mitzvot are. He knows about Hashem. He knows about doing the right thing. He just fails whenever he tries it. And this is an important idea in the midrash, that a good wife can straighten out somebody. In the late 19th century, the 1880s, the most successful gold mine in American history was the Homestake Mine in Lead, South Dakota. It was owned by the Hearst family, the father of William Randolph Hearst. And he had a big problem. These young men would come into the mine to be miners. They had to be trained. And within a year, they were gone. Either they were killed in bar fights, or being shot, or disease, or they just left. In other words, he didn't have a steady workforce. And his secretary was a Jewish girl from Deadwood, which was a few miles down the road. And he was complaining to her, how can I have a steady workforce? What he wanted was these guys to last not just a year, but for years and years, because remember, they have to be trained to do what they were doing. So she said, well, the problem is they're not married. Now, the population of Lead at that time, it was about 5% women. The rest were single guys. And I don't have to tell you what those women did for a living. So he told her, he said, listen, you see the girls around here? They're not the girls you're going to bring home to mama. They're not that type. She said, no, you don't understand something. There's a lot of single guys here out west. There are a lot of single women back east. What our job is to get them together. So she said, well, what do I do? And they put in mail order brides. But she said, but also when they come out here to marry, you're going to have schools, you're going to have a hospital, you're going to have all these things that you don't have right now. It can't be just this little mining town. So he decided, okay, I'll try it. He brought the women out. They got married. Within a year, he got exactly what he wanted, a steady workforce. Because now these guys were married, some had children, they were responsible citizens. I don't know. But the thing is, she probably did, by the way. But the point is of this, that I'm trying to point across, is don't underestimate the power of a woman to tame a man. Whoa. Something to think about.